You guys seeing how I got so many new subs? Let me see, pull this up a little. Seeing how I got so many new subs, I want to go into a subject that it took me half my life to reteach myself over. Because I was lied to from the get go, and people, I was alive during all the moon excursions, I would say. I was live when Kennedy made his famous speeches about we're not going to the moon because it is hard or because it is easy or whatever. That fucking criminal ass family that was in power for a while said he was as full of shit. The Democrats, I'm sorry, they've always been full of shit, and so has the Republicans. Ronald Reagan was no different than Kennedy. They were all about the money. The Kennedys would not have been in power if not for the corruption of their father and their grandfather before them. The Kennedys made all their money off when alcohol was illegal in this country. The Kennedys made all their money. That's why when people like Al Capone came along and shit, they didn't like people cutting into their profits. So they went after them. They didn't like any competition, folks. Well, America's the same fucking way. Because America is not the people that live in it. America is the government that runs it. Because they lied to all you. They convince you in your public school educations that they're all good. And for the most part, most people believe them. Everything they are told. They believe it all, folks. They believe the medical field is here to save us. Space is where we all came from. They believe it all. They believe Pearl Harbor was a sneak attack. Abraham Lincoln loved black people. Saved them. Saved the black people from enslavement. They believe that Kennedy was shot by one man alone. They believe Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. They believe the towers were taken down by 2 planes, 3 buildings, completely demolished, fell at the speed of gravity. They so-called gravity, folks. They free fell is what they did. All 3 buildings, only 2 buildings were hit by a plane. If you don't think that was a planned thing, then you really know nothing about history. Now, before I get into this, folks, like I said, I watched all the damn Apollo missions shooting up into the air on TV. They cut out here and there and videos. Everything swapped. Nothing was live, folks. Maybe a rocket being shot off. Yeah, that was probably live. But everything after it got so far in the sky was not. These rockets don't go straight up in the air, folks. Why wouldn't they? Fastest way off the earth and into space is straight up, not at a curve. You have never seen any NASA rockets go straight up into space because space doesn't exist. I lived through all the 60s and 70s bullshit, folks. They claimed they had videos of us on the moon live. They show the lander landing and the two guys coming out. Who set up the camera on the moon to shoot all that? I'm not going into you with all the fake shit. They did not have Wi-Fi, folks. They did not have a data package at that time to send photos and videos across space. Shit didn't exist in the 60s and the 70s. They claimed they were sitting on the moon shooting live, playing golf, driving cars. How could they do that, folks? The cameras had the video film inside them. Come on. None of it was real. The photos are all faked. All of them have been proven many times over to be faked. You're believing lies. You're believing Satan's lies that he's fed man in order to suck more money out of you. And I'm telling you this because Trump, he's the first president ever to give billions to a space police. Oh yeah, you got a space police, folks. You've never even been to space. You've never even seen the darkness of space. You've never been high enough to even understand what their fake space is. But you're paying for a space police department. Shit. The money they can get you guys to give them, the money that they can get you to give them for lies is amazing. Simply amazing. Now we're going to get into this. And I want you people to know I'm going to use some words. They're big words, yes. Look them up, folks. They're not even that hard to understand. They make them big, so if they're more than 4 letters, they know you won't even look them up if you don't understand them. That's why they make them more than 4 letters. That's why they make these words 20 letters, 40 letters long. So they know you're not going to look it up. Oh hell, me just trying to sound out this word just made my head explode. People, the shit ain't that hard to understand. I'm a fucking dumbass hillbilly from Nashville, Tennessee with a freaking 2-year AA degree from college. I can understand it. I have dyslexia. I've had to deal with dyslexia. And I can understand it. So I'm going to use some words I don't want you to panic over. I don't want you to think, oh, fuck, he just used the word. I'm just going to turn this video off. Fuck yes, he done used the word too big for me. Don't do it. Listen to Pop Watachi for a minute. Just for a minute. And I guarantee you, I can make you understand them billion-dollar words. Are you ready? Here we go. I can prove to you people that space cannot exist. Could not possibly exist. And we can use the scientific method. The scientific method. This is a proven method. From your hypothesis all the way through all the fucking scientific research, everything. That the scientific method, there's many steps in that, folks. That's why they want to claim science is real. Because if you do use the scientific method and do it that way, the way they used to do everything, it can be real. It can be helpful. Because these scientists got together hundreds of fucking years ago and decided the only way you can prove something to be factual scientifically was by using the scientific method. Look it up. There's steps. This pseudoscience shit, your Einstein was pseudoscience. Theories. Nothing real. Nothing could be backed by what he said. Most of the shit he stole. He knew. Einstein was asked one time, how's it feel to be the smartest person on earth? And Einstein answered at that time, don't ask me, go ask Tesla. Because Tesla was still alive. Einstein knew he was a fake. They were using him. The guy that built NASA, German, captured at the end of the Second World War. He was brought to America. He wasn't in prison. He was a German building weapons that killed many, many people. He wasn't in prison. He was given a leadership over NASA, the American space program. Oh, yeah. Now, let me tell you, folks, and I'm going to use this word, thermodynamics. Don't run. People, stop. Don't push that button. It's no big deal. Thermodynamics is just a big word. It's easily understood. Easily understood. Do not run. Listen to Pop Watachi. This old man can teach you something. With thermodynamics, folks, thermodynamics, that involves a lot of things. Heat, entropy, equilibrium, a whole big word. Oh, stop right there. Do not shut this video off. Just stop and listen. Whew, them big words I'm throwing around. You might have to look something up. Shit. Thermodynamics, people. Can we all agree we have a pressurized gas atmosphere? Pressurized gas. And I only use the word atmosphere because that's your brainwashing to convince you you're still living on a ball. Sphere. Atmosphere. They keep that sphere in there, keep you thinking you're living on a ball. So I'm going to use your atmosphere. Your atmosphere is a pressurized gas atmosphere. 17 to the negative or some shit. I'm an old man, folks. You need to know them numbers. But it is gas pressure. Gas pressure in our atmosphere. Thermodynamics states when you're dealing with gas pressure. Folks, come on. Let me ask you, where have you ever seen gas pressure? Gas pressure. We'll talk about a fart. Okay, a fart is gas pressure. But where was it before it was released? It was inside a container, inside your body. Then when it comes out, it's released. That's gas pressure being released. Now, if you have a atmosphere of gas pressure, 17 to the negative, whatever, you look it up. I'm tired. I used to know it, folks, but it is 17 to the negative or some shit. I used to argue this shit all the time about, no, I ain't saying it's flat earth, by no means, but it definitely ain't a ball. So, according to thermodynamics and gas pressure, you cannot have gas pressure without a container. Is there anyone that wants to deny that right now? Because this is thermodynamics. There's 4 laws of thermodynamics, and they are laws that cannot be broken by man. No man can break any law of thermodynamics. No man. Only God could break that law. No man can break thermodynamics laws. There's 4. No man. So, in thermodynamics, it states, in order to have gas pressure, you have to have a container. Now, Einstein claimed the container was gravity. He also had to claim gravity is not a provable force. So it doesn't exist. Within science, it cannot exist if they cannot prove it. That is science, folks. That is science. If they cannot prove it through the scientific method, it is pseudoscience. It is not real. It is theory, and it's based on nothing real. The 4 laws of thermodynamics is based on nothing man can change. They've all admitted it. All the scientists admit it. Thermodynamics is laws that cannot be broken by man. Gas pressure. You cannot have gas pressure without a container. If you can, then why would you need the rubber part of a balloon when you pump helium in it to get it to float? If gas pressure could exist without the balloon, you could just shoot gas pressure up into the air. People, look, with gas pressure goes, all the molecules bounce out in all directions until they are stopped. And until gas molecules are stopped, there can be no pressure. They have to have a container to bounce off of to build a 17 to the negative toward whatever the atmosphere pressure is. You cannot have that pressure, any pressure, without a container. How many more times do I have to say this? Now, if we have a pressurized atmosphere, then we have to have a container. The Bible talked about the container. Man doesn't. The Bible talked about the firmament, which contained us all in here, with the waters above from the waters below. The firmament blocks all that. But man can't prove. Man wants to tell you, you go from the atmosphere pressure on the earth to nothing into a vacuum of space. People, if you look into thermodynamics and entropy and gas pressure, that cannot happen. If you don't have a container, then the gas molecules go out in all directions, have nothing to bounce off of. There's no way they can build a pressure. There's no way. So, if there's nothing in the sky to block the pressure, to contain the pressure, and it just goes straight into a vacuum of space, then you would have no oxygen to breathe on this earth, folks. I don't care what you've been told. This is the facts. You would have no oxygen to breathe. Now, with entropy, people, that can happen in a lot of things. Hot always goes to cold. That's entropy. You heat up a cup of coffee. You take the energy away from that cup of coffee and you set it on a counter. It will always go cold. You cannot take a cold cup of coffee and sit it on the counter and expect it to become hot. Won't happen. That's the laws of thermodynamics. You cannot break that law. You can't make hot or cold go to hot without any kind of refrigeration or heat or something like that. You can only make hot go to cold naturally without any kind of energy. You can only make hot go to cold. That's entropy. Now, when we're talking about equilibrium, and everything wants to be in equilibrium because that's where there's no energy going in, no energy coming out. That's equilibrium. Balance. If I just sit here and don't move, I'm sitting here in equilibrium. Don't say nothing, just sit here. No energy going that way, that way, that way, or that way. If I take this lighter, with this lighter in my hand, there's energy in it. I pick this lighter up with my fingers. My fingers have the energy from my arm. My arm has the energy from my body. I pick this thing up, I'm moving it. That takes it out of equilibrium. As soon as I lay it on the table, if this was a table, I'm trying to be it. This ain't a table, this is my hand. It still has energy. As soon as I lay this thing on the table, this thing's back at equilibrium. No energy going in, no energy coming out. As soon as I lay it on the table. This stuff ain't hard to understand, folks. Just because they slap big words behind it, they try to keep you from even looking into it. Thermodynamics isn't that hard, folks. Come on, you deal with thermodynamics every day. If you kick on your air conditioner, that's thermodynamics. If you kick on your heater, that's thermodynamics. When you start your car, that's thermodynamics. When you heat up a cup of coffee or tea, that's thermodynamics. You deal with thermodynamics every day, but because they made it a $25,000 word, you're scared to death of it. It's not that hard to understand. But they keep lying to you, making you believe shit that ain't real. No video footage that you've ever seen that they claim come from the moon ever came from the moon. That video footage came from a studio or a part of Earth. Look at your damn Mars rover bullshit, folks. Everything they've showed on that Mars rover, I could show you out in Arizona. Everything. Oh, many places, actually. Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, California, Mexico, Middle East. There's many places I could show you look just like it. And shit. They ain't on no Mars. Mars don't exist. Planets don't exist. You're not flying at 666,000 miles an hour around the sun. You're not spinning 1,000 miles an hour at the equator because the equator doesn't exist. People, they claim they can't go back to the moon today because they lost the trajectory of information. They're trying to tell you they had more technology and more know-how in the 60s and 70s than they got today. They claim the Van Allen belts have so much radiation in them. That's what protects us from the sun's bursts and all the stuff coming in from the sun, and everything's going to kill us from the sun. They said there ain't no wiring. There ain't no metal that can last through the Van Allen belts. Their Van Allen belts, not mine. Their shit's fake. They claim no wiring, no metal can go through there. The radiation is so extreme. The heat is so extreme. How can you have heat where there is no molecules in a vacuum of space? How can you have heat or cold? Answer that, folks. When the molecules here on Earth speed up, that causes heat. When they slow down, that causes cold. How can you have extreme heat and cold in a vacuum where there are no molecules? Where there are nothing. There's nothing. How can you have a rocket that, yes, folks, when you send a rocket up in the air, you've got the rocket facing towards the Earth, and it's blasting your rocket up into the sky. It's got something to push off of. It's got the Earth to push off of to start with. Then it's got the atmosphere to push off after that. Once it gets into the vacuum of space, there's no more molecules, folks. A rocket will not work in a vacuum. They've proven it many times. Wings. Wings will work through an atmosphere with gas pressure and all that. Wings will work through that. Wings will not work where there is no atmosphere. There's nothing to give you lift. There's nothing to raise you up. You will just fall. So if rockets and wings don't work, that destroys all your spacecraft. Single-handedly. Now, people have been saying since I started 20 years ago, you can still find them on Google. We've debunked Watachi. Watachi, flat earther, he's been debunked. Watachi, he believes in God, he's been debunked. All this stuff. They've claimed on Google many times, and they're still on there, folks, even old-time ones. I've had people all over this earth saying they've debunked me. Not one of them has proved has actually debunked anything. Because I throw at them, prove gas pressure without a container. They can't do it. Prove movement of the earth. They can't do it. Prove self-perpetuating molten iron core in the earth. They can't do it. They can't prove a radius of a geometric shaped earth. A geometric shaped earth will always have a radius exactly in the same place at all times. They cannot prove an edge of the earth. They claim it's a horizon. It's never in the same spot. And a horizon you can never get to. Just like the moon and the sun. Things you can never get to. Folks, I'm an old hillbilly. This shit ain't hard to understand. I hope I've helped you. If not, then I guess you'll just continue to keep believing whatever you believe. But I want you to know God loves you. And he wants you to know this is fake. He's put me here, giving me the information to do that with. Whether you want to listen to it or not, I have no there's nothing I can do about that. But I want you guys to know I love you. Seriously, I love you. God loves you more. God will always love you. I will try to. But folks, man, come on. I'm a hillbilly. You guys all claim to be smarter than me. Why am I telling you anything? I keep asking myself that. Pop Watati. I love you. Till the next one.